Alright, so here we go. We're gonna go full spoilers now. A final warning, if you want to see this movie, you haven't seen it yet, you don't want anything spoiled, stop the video now, go see the movie if you want. Right now, we're gonna do full spoilers, talk about some more stuff in the movie that I didn't want to spoil for you. So, one aspect about this movie that I cannot stand is the severe lack of security in all of these buildings. So Riz Ahmed's character owns this like $1 billion super station that's in San Francisco. It has its own rocket launch pad just in the middle, just on some island right across the bay from San Francisco. He has his own rocket launch pad. This is a $1 billion facility that he has. And at one point, this lady betrays him, and she wants Eddie Brock to come see all the bad shit that's going on inside this facility. And Eddie Brock's like, at first he's like, nah, screw that, I don't care. My life is ruined, leave me alone. And then he tries to get back together with his ex-wife, Michelle Williams. She's like, no, go away, I don't want anything to do with you. So he's like, you know what, I need some redemption, I'm gonna go follow this story. He goes with this doctor, they go to the facility. The way they get in, he just lays in the back of the car, puts a blanket over him. She just drives through security. Alright, that was pretty simple. Now, when they get to this facility, they're just walking around. Just walking around. No security at all. At one point, she hears a security guard coming. She puts her hand down on this fingerprint scanner and tells Eddie, just go in. He goes in, the door closes, and she talks to the security guard. He's like, oh, thought everyone went home. And she's like, well, you know, science never sleeps. And the guard's like, ha ha ha, and I guess he just walks away. And so does she. While Eddie is in this room where all of the alien symbiote life forms are, this alien life form that can change the course of human history. It's so powerful. Riz Ahmed literally sent people to space to get this thing. And all it took was a handprint to get in. And then within there's no security guards. There's no security cameras. There's no maximum security anything. He just walks around with his smartphone taking pictures of dead bodies. Anyway, he finds this homeless lady. She has been infected with some symbiote. She's freaking out. All it takes is Eddie Brock to pick up a fire extinguisher and just smash the glass 3 or 4 times, and then it breaks. They have this alien life form in this glass case that only takes a few strikes out of a fire extinguisher to break. So he breaks that. The alien jumps out. There's red lights blinking everywhere. Emergency, emergency. You would think you would have guards with assault rifles and stuff packing in, running in, ready to light shit up. But there's nothing. He gets attacked by the symbiote lady. She like grabs onto him. This Venom leaves that lady, comes into him, and then he gets up and he runs out of I don't know how he gets out of the room because it's handprint locked or whatever. But he gets out, he runs down a hallway, and then 2 guards show up with like tasers. Like, how is this facility not... They don't have, like, shotguns and assault rifles. How is this not, like, locked down? I don't know. Maybe I'm just thinking too much about this. Now Venom is in him, so he's doing all these crazy kicks and punches and everything. He gets out of the facility somehow, jumps a fence. He's in the woods. There's, like, 10 guys chasing after him. They're shooting him. There's some ATVs that are going through the woods in this cool scene trying to chase him. And then at one point, he's stuck here. There's some other trees. Guys are coming from all directions. And they all get there, and they're like, wait, where'd he go? There's like 50 guys here, all with like guns, and they're supposed to be like highly trained. They're protecting this facility. They're like, where'd he go? I don't know. The dude literally just climbed the tree, and none of them thought to just look up. Nope, they all looked around. And then it's a cut, and he's just like at home. Meanwhile, during all this is happening, when the spaceship first crashes on Earth, and there's one symbiote that's missing. There's like 4 or 5 of them total, I think, and they get all of them but one. One of them escaped, and it basically infects this doctor. He infects the ambulance driver. As infected, he flips the ambulance over. Then he goes to some like Asian market. He infects a like old lady. And then in the movie, there's a 6-month gap. At one point, it's after Eddie Brock loses his job. There's a 6-month gap. And the symbiote, that old lady, is still the old lady. It's just her getting to the airport. So it took this symbiote old lady, who, as a symbiote, she has insane powers. She can jump super high, she's super fast, she's super strong, she can like whip out these blades and kill anyone. It took her 6 months to get to an airport. And so it took her 6 months to get to the airport. And then when she gets to an airport, she infects a little girl, and the little girl, I guess, somehow gets on a plane and gets to San Francisco. And then somehow this little girl also gets into that facility. I don't know if she just killed everyone on her way in. You would think there would be security cameras, there would be some way they would see her walking through, turning into a symbiote. Riot is the symbiote's name, just killing everyone. But no, she just walks into the facility. She walks into the maximum security place that Eddie Brock was in, and she finds Riz Ahmed, and she infects him, or the Riot comes out of her and infects him. And I don't understand how it got. There's absolutely no way this little girl could have gotten into this facility. We'll just accept that Riz Ahmed kind of overlooked all that. At the end, the big thing, Eddie Brock he finds out that Venom can heal him, do whatever he wants to heal him up. He breaks a leg at one point, it's like going the wrong way. Venom heals him up immediately. He gets hit by a car, and he's like dead, and then Venom brings him back to life. But then he finds out that Venom is slowly eating him. He's draining life from him. So he's like, get off me. So he goes to this hospital, and Michelle Williams turns on an MRI machine, and the Venom, at it's like 6,000 hertz or something, at a certain frequency, the symbiote can't handle it. So Venom separates from Eddie Brock, and he's like, yo, F this, I'm out. I don't want anything to do with you, and he escapes. They have, oh my gosh, they have this symbiote locked in this MRI room, and Michelle Williams is arguing with her new boyfriend doctor about, oh my gosh, blah, 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 blah. And then meanwhile, the symbiote just climbs up through an air vent and gets out. That's all I had to do was climb the wall and get up in an air vent. And then, after they're arguing, Michelle Williams is like, Dan, where did it go? Oh my goodness, they didn't watch this all-powerful alien being. That's okay. So it gets away. It infects a dog. This actually is hilarious. It infects a dog, and then Michelle Williams sees the dog, and she's like, oh, that's Venom. And then it cuts away. And then the Riz Ahmed security mercenary guys find Eddie Brock. They take him out in the woods. They're going to shoot him. Venom shows up and takes them all out. But it's actually Michelle Williams' Venom. It's kind of like this weird, sexy Venom-looking version. I don't know. It's kind of weird. But she kicks ass, and then they make out. And the Venom transfers from her to Eddie Brock. So at this point, it's kind of weird, because it's like, all right, you wanted nothing to do with Venom, but now he's back in you. It's like, how are they gonna be friends again? How are we gonna make Venom a good guy? And this, I'm not kidding. I mean, if you've seen the movie, you know this happens. This is how they mend their relationship. Eddie Brock says, Venom, what are you doing here? Why do you want me? Why are you still here? Why don't you want to eat everyone? And Venom, I'm not kidding you, says, you know how you're a loser on Earth? Well, back on my home planet, I'm a loser too. That's your explanation? Venom's a loser on his symbiote home planet, so he wants to chill on Earth with Eddie Brock. That's what this whole movie has been building to. Venom is supposed to be this evil, super dark villain who eats people, and he's symbiote, and he's evil, and he's the arch rival of Spider-Man. But no, he's just a loser, and he just wants to be losers with Eddie Brock. Whatever, okay. So Eddie Brock and Venom are cool. They're like, all right, well, guess we gotta go stop Riz Ahmed / Riot, who is his symbiote that's taken him over. They dash over to that facility where they are literally launching a rocket into space. I don't know if you can just launch a rocket into space, literally just 2 miles away from San Francisco, but apparently I guess you can do that in this world. And Riz Ahmed gets in there, he's like, launch the shuttle. They're like, dude, who's gonna fly it? He's like, I'm gonna fly it. And they're like, dude, you don't know how to fly shuttles. And he's like, oh, I'm not gonna be flying alone. And everyone's like, oh, okay. Only one guy in the back corner of the room is like, oh shit, he has symbiote in him. So he tries to sabotage the flight, but Riz Ahmed catches on to that, and he kills everyone in that room. Now, unless literally every single person in this 5-story massive island facility was in that room, we see no one else in that facility. He kills all those people, and then he runs up, fights Venom, they fight on the runway, and then he hops in the shuttle because he beats Venom's ass. It's because Michelle Williams, they left Michelle Williams behind. They're like, no, you can't fight. You're a girl. We don't need you. We'll be fine. And she's like, that's some bullshit. So when Venom is fighting Riot on this airship that hasn't taken off yet, She somehow just waltzes into the facility, into the main launch bay, and there's conveniently a microphone that she can turn up that turns on the frequency that makes it super loud out by the air shuttle. How did Michelle Williams get in there? Like, first of all, how is there, like, the National Guard, the U.S. Army? Like, no one is there. There's absolutely nobody there except for Michelle Williams, Riz Ahmed, and Eddie Brock. That's it. Those are the only three people in this facility all of a sudden. I don't know. But the way this ends, there's this cool fight scene between Venom and Riot, and it's pretty cool. They're using all their different weapons. Venom and Riot are trying to eat each other, and at one point they do. Riot consumes Venom and becomes like super powerful guy, but then Michelle Williams turns on the microphone and it like really screws him up, and then Venom shoots out. All four of them separate. So Venom, Riot, Eddie Brock, Riz Ahmed, they all separate. Then we have like a fisticuffs between Riz Ahmed and Tom Hardy, and Tom Hardy loses. Or he wins, actually. He kicks Riz Ahmed off this platform, but the symbiote catches him. He throws like a spear through Tom Hardy, and he dies. He's dead. Riot / Riz Ahmed climb in the shuttle, and they blast off. And then Venom just kind of appears out of nowhere. He comes up through some vent. He takes control of Eddie Brock, brings him back to life. He pulls the spear out. They climb up the shuttle, and they're like, hey, have a nice life. They say that throughout this movie like 17 times. They say, have a nice life. And as they're going down the shuttle, Venom sticks a spear in it, and the spear can like pierce rocket shuttle armor, I guess. Fuel spills out. Whole thing blows up. It melts Riz Ahmed. It melts Riot. It supposedly melts Venom, but he creates a parachute that saves Eddie Brock as he falls into the water. And then it's like a cut to black. And then at the end, it's Tom Hardy. He's having like a little heart-to-heart with Michelle Williams. They're like joking, like, hey, remember that kiss? Oh yeah, that was so fun. Oh, don't tell Dan about it. And then Michelle's like, oh, like, I'm sorry about Venom. And he's like, oh, it's cool. And then you hear Venom's like, what's so cool? And it's like, oh, Venom's still in him. That's funny. Then he walks away. Michelle Williams is like, what the heck? Like, is there, like, she, like, knows, like, oh, you still have Venom? Like, you're not supposed to have that or whatever. He walks away. Then we see Stan Lee. He shows up at the end of the movie. That's pretty cool. Stan Lee shows up. And then this might be the most frustrating part of the movie. So we have Eddie Brock. All the shit's done. All of it's done. Eddie Brock is just walking down the street. And he goes into that stop and rob they went to like an hour and a half ago. And this dude, earlier in the movie, this same exact scene happens. He walks in, he says hi to the lady behind the counter. And he goes and he like looks at the fridge. And this guy walks in. He points a gun at the counter and he says, hey, you need to give me your weekly payment or whatever. She gives him all the money in the register. He walks away. The first time I was like, oh, Eddie Brock is going to do something. No, Eddie Brock just straight up watches this dude rob this chick. Then he leaves and he's like, all right, I'm ready to check out. Like, what a dick. But this time he's got Venom in him. So he walks over. He turns into Venom. As this guy comes in and robs the place, he picks him up. He's like, hey, if you show back up here, I'm going to eat all your arms and legs and your head, and you're just going to be a torso rolling down the street. The guy's like, what are you? And in front of this totally innocent civilian lady, half his face comes off, and he's like, we are Venom. And she can clearly see Eddie Brock's face. She knows who this man is. All of San Francisco knows who he is. He's a citywide national reporter. And then his face comes back and he eats the guy. And then he turns back into Eddie Brock, and she's like, oh, Eddie, what was that? It's a parasite. And then he walks away. And Venom's like, oh, why are you calling me a parasite? He's like, oh, it's just a joke. And Venom's like, oh, say sorry. And some dumb thing, and then it cuts to black. So you're telling me Eddie Brock is just going to straight up eat people in front of people that he knows? And like immediately, the woman behind the counter should call the police and be like, yo, I just straight up saw Eddie Brock eat someone in front of me. But no, this movie's like, she's just like, oh, cool, Eddie Brock can eat people now as Venom. Oh, that's cool. And like doesn't think another thing of it. And Eddie Brock just walks down the street talking to Venom in his head. And then we get the post-credit scene, which is probably the worst. It's Eddie Brock goes to this federal penitentiary, and inside it's Woody Harrelson wearing probably the worst red wig I have ever seen in my life in a movie. We all know Woody Harrelson is bald. He's got this red afro wig on, and it is absolutely terrible. But it's him being creepy, and apparently he's like a serial murderer. Eddie Brock is like, what's up? He's like, hey man, once I get out of here, we're gonna meet up, because there's gonna be a lot of carnage. And then it cuts to black, and it's like, okay, that's going to be Carnage. Cool. Venom 2 is never going to happen. This movie is not going to happen. I don't see Tom Hardy coming back unless he has a contract for it. I don't see him coming back for another one. He already says he wants nothing. He didn't like. They took out his favorite 40 minutes of the movie. I could not imagine this movie having 40 more minutes in it, but apparently there's 40 minutes of it out there somewhere. So the whole post-credit scene, it's cool, but we're not going to see Venom 2. There's absolutely no way. If there's a Venom 2, I will eat a shoe if Venom 2 is ever made. It's not going to happen. So maybe if they do make a Venom 2, it's going to be Carnage. That would be cool. It would have been cool if Carnage was in this movie. Also, it was kind of, if you were on the internet, it was already revealed that Woody Harrelson was going to be Carnage. There was the one guy behind me in the theater who's like, son of a bitch, Woody Harrelson. Somehow that was the one guy in the entire audience that didn't know Woody Harrelson was going to be in this movie. And then there was a post-credit scene, which was actually just like a scene from Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, which is coming out in December. It was cool. It looks cool. I'm definitely going to see that movie. We're definitely going to review it. It's just straight up like 5 minutes of that movie tacked onto the end of this. It's basically just like a little trailer. Sony like, hey, you like this movie? Go see this movie. Give us more money. So that concludes this review of Venom, our first review here on the Cinematic. If you liked it, I know this is my first review. It might have been a little rambly. I'll have to work on being a little bit more concise. I just have so many things I want to say with the movie. I'm the only one here talking. I don't have anyone else to like give a dialogue with. I talked with my brother on the way back in the car. He loved the movie. He has terrible opinions on movies. So hopefully hopefully the reviews get better and better the more I do them. But if you liked it, please share it with everyone you know. Please like it. Please subscribe. All that YouTube stuff. And thanks for watching. Hopefully the next movie review is a little bit better. See ya.